Hi and welcome to another video of Internationalize Now. On my webpage I'll show you how to live legally free with optimized taxation and how to get a second passport and second residencies. In this video I want to talk to you about what is an offshore bank account and if it's legal to have an offshore bank account. Because a lot of people asking me this question, if it's legal to have an offshore bank account. And yes, we can talk about that first. It's completely legal to have an offshore bank account. Nothing is wrong with an offshore bank account, at least if you do only legal things, right? If you do money laundering or if you plan to do something like this, of course it's not legal at all. And I can really not recommend to do these things today because the problem is everything gets more and more transparent. For example, for US citizens there's this FATCA, and for a lot of other Western countries there's the OECD implemented CRS, Common Reporting Standard. So it means every year, once per year, all the details of your bank account getting sent to your local tax authority in your home country. So it's no good idea to avoid taxation with it or to do something illegally, because in the end they will know that you have an offshore bank account and you should really only do things that's completely legal, right? And this is what we also help you from Internationalize Now. We only help you to do legal things. That's very important, right? So, but yes, you can have as many offshore bank accounts like you want. It's no problem to have 100 offshore bank accounts. The question is it makes it sense to have so many offshore bank accounts or bank accounts in other countries? And maybe there's also a misconception about that. Maybe you think, or most people, if they hear the word offshore bank account, it's something like it's only using the very rich people and to avoid taxation, and maybe it's like in a paradise island in a tax haven, right? And like here, like my background is like right now it's a beach and there's a golden bank, and there you deposit your money, and nobody will know that, and that you have money there and you can hide it and so on and so on. But this is a completely wrong picture most people have. An offshore bank account is basically just a bank account abroad, what you can use to get more options, more safety and more freedom of action, right? So I was also making a very interesting webinar about this topic. What is the best jurisdictions right now to open legally and very easy an offshore bank account without the need of a utility bill. You can find the link to this webinar in my description of this video, so feel free to look at it. It's very interesting. We can even help you to open this account remotely. So it means you don't have to visit this country to open this account. So very nice. But yes, offshore bank account gives you more safety. Why? Because maybe there's no safe banks, as you might know already. So, but what is there is better banks maybe. So banks that are more solvent, banks that have more liquidity. So if there's a bank run, maybe they have more cash, and in the end, they're more stable, they are more safe, let's say, or they are just better banks. More safe, it's not really right because there's no safe bank at all, I think. But there's more stable banks and better banks than other banks. Because if you go to the US or other countries, also in Europe, they are really not solvent with banks usually, and they have not a lot of cash reserves. So it's something, when you choose an account abroad, a bank account abroad, it gives you maybe more safety. For example, if you go to Singapore, a few years ago it was still very easy as a non-resident to get a bank account there. Right now it's very hard. You only get private banking options. We can help you with that, of course. So it starts from 100,000 Singapore dollar minimum deposit, but it can go up to, if you go with a DBS bank, for example, with 350,000 Singapore dollars minimum deposit to get there an account. But this is one of the safest banks, most people say, around the world. So yes, and then there's of course banks, offshore banks that really offshore, and they are have very high fees. Let's say like the Euro Pacific Bank in Puerto Rico, and these are more saving banks maybe to just have money there, but not like a transactional account. So you should use also bank accounts abroad for its purpose. So there's countries that's very easy, for example in Georgia, to open a bank account. And they are relatively cheap. You get very good card options is available for these accounts. And yeah, in the end, you will have like also a relatively good bank and a good jurisdiction, and it's relatively cheap, so you can use it maybe more like a transactional account. But every account should have its own purpose. I think about that, because in the end, otherwise you will just pay too much for fees and everything, right? So think about what bank account you are opening, where you're opening it, and for what you will use it in the end. So yeah, you get more freedom, you get more freedom of action, you get more safety, and maybe also more options. What do I mean with more options? yeah, it's possible that maybe in other jurisdiction, other banks pay you much more interest, so you get a high yielding bank account. But in your home country, for example, I'm from Germany. In Germany right now, in 2020, there's already the first banks who make negative interest rates. So it means if you have over 100,000 euro, for example, in this account, they will just charge you a negative interest rate. So imagine that. You give the bank money and they charge you for that, right? So it's crazy. We are living really in crazy times sometimes if you think about that. But yeah, this is an offshore bank account. I hope you enjoyed this video and understand that an offshore bank is nothing illegal if you don't use it for illegal things, of course. It gives you more safety, more freedom of action, and also more options maybe, because you can invest, you have better interest rate, and so on and so on. And not everybody can really take away your money that easily, because if there's a bank account abroad, first they have to know that there's already a bank account for you, and on the other side they have to go to the legal system there to get to the funds inside your account. So yeah, it can give you also safety, as you can see. And if you like this content or this video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. Also visit my webpage Internationalize Now, because on my website I write a lot of articles about how to live legally free, how to legally reduce your taxation, how to get second residencies, live abroad, live a perpetual traveler lifestyle. So feel free to join my come to this website and maybe join also my webinar. I told you already about that, about the easiest jurisdictions right now to open an offshore bank account. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and as I said, please subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye bye.